Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time you're looking at this. I just wanted to jump on before part two and say, look, this study has taken me further and deeper than I intended on going. I didn't even, some of the things that have come out, ashamed to say that I wasn't even aware of. But it's it's going deep, and there'll probably be about 5 or 6 parts to this. So just encourage you to hang in there with me. Uh, get your Bible, get your highlighter, get your pen, get your notes, leave your comments. I want to hear what you got to say about it. And stay tuned. All right, let's get back into part two, picking up from where we left off.
According to all the laws which I commanded your fathers, and which I sent to you by my servants the prophets. Notwithstanding they would not hear, but hardened their necks, like to the neck of their fathers, that did not believe in the Lord their God. And they rejected his statutes, and his covenant that he made with their fathers, and his testimonies which he testified against them. And they followed vanity, and became vain, and went after the heathen that were round about them, concerning whom the Lord had charged them, that they should not do like them. And they left all the commandments of the Lord their God, and made them molten images, even 2 calves, and made a grove, and worshipped all the host of heaven, and served Baal. And they caused their sons and their daughters to pass through the fire, and used divination and enchantments, and sold themselves to do evil in the sight of the Lord, to provoke him to anger. Therefore the Lord was very angry with Israel, and removed them out of his sight. There was none left but the tribe of Judah only. Also Judah kept not the commandments of the Lord their God, but walked in the statutes of Israel which they made. And the Lord rejected all the seed of Israel, and afflicted them, and delivered them into the hand of spoilers, until he had cast them out of his sight. For he rent Israel from the house of David, and they made Jeroboam the son of Nebat king. And Jeroboam drave Israel from following the Lord, and made them sin a great sin. For the children of Israel walked in all the sins of Jeroboam which he did. They departed not from them, until the Lord removed Israel out of his sight, as he had said by all his servants the prophets. So was Israel carried away out of their own land to Assyria unto this day. And the king of Assyria brought men from Babylon, and from Cutha, and from Ava, and from Hamath, and from Sepharvaim.
Okay, now we get into the good part. I want you to remember these cities. It says, and the king of Assyria brought men from Babylon, and from Cutha, and from Ava, and from Hamath, and from Sepharvaim, and placed them in the cities of Samaria instead of the children of Israel. And they possessed Samaria, and dwelt in the cities thereof. Okay. Babylon, 1. Cutha, 2. Ava, 3. Hamath, 4. And Sepharvaim, 5. 5 cities. 5 cities. 5. Okay. 5 cities you see on the map where they came from and where they dwelt in the cities of Israel and the city of Samaria. Right now, he moves some of the people out. He didn't move all of them out, but a lot of the people were moved out of Israel and other people brought into Israel. All right. Remember that. 5 cities.
And placed them in the cities of Samaria instead of the children of Israel. And they possessed Samaria, and dwelt in the cities thereof. And so it was at the beginning of their dwelling there, that they feared not the Lord. Therefore the Lord sent lions among them, which slew some of them. Wherefore they spake to the king of Assyria, saying, The nations which thou hast removed, and placed in the cities of Samaria, know not the manner of the God of the land. Therefore he hath sent lions among them, and behold, they slay them, because they know not the manner of the God of the land. Then the king of Assyria commanded, saying, Carry thither one of the priests whom ye brought from thence, and let them go and dwell there, and let him teach them the manner of the God of the land. Then one of the priests whom they had carried away from Samaria came and dwelt in Bethel, and taught them how they should fear the Lord. Howbeit every nation made gods of their own, and put them in the houses of the high places which the Samaritans had made, every nation in their cities wherein they dwelt. And the men of Babylon made Succoth-Benoth, and the men of Cuth made Nergal, and the men of Hamath made Ashimah. And the Avites made Nibhaz and Tartak, and the Sepharvites burnt their children in fire to Adramelech and Anamelech, the gods of Sepharvaim. So they feared the Lord, and made unto themselves of the lowest of them priests of the high places, which sacrificed for them in the houses of the high places. They feared the Lord, and served their own gods, after the manner of the nations whom they carried away from thence. Unto this day they do after the former manners. They fear not the Lord, neither do they after their statutes, or after their ordinances, or after the law and commandment which the Lord commanded the children of Jacob, whom he named Israel.
Stop it right there. Stop it. Wait a minute. Did you catch that? Let's read 34 again. Unto this day they do after the former manners. They fear not the Lord, neither do they after their statutes, or after the ordinance, or after the law and commandment which the Lord commanded the children of Jacob, whom he named Israel. Oh my goodness. Here it is again. If you saw my last video, it was called Do You Love Him? Go back and watch that. Here we go again, saying, this is God saying that the Israelites are going to be taken away, or were taken away, because, let's get it, they fear not the Lord, neither do they after the statutes, or after the ordinance, or after the law and commandment which the Lord commanded the children of Jacob, whom he named Israel. They were taken away for disobedience. And see, the church I just left, they told me, they said, well, the Old Testament, that's for our learning. You know, we live by the New Testament. Don't worry about that Old Testament, you know. It seems like we need to learn why Israel was taken away. Right? Because Christ, if you saw my last video, he said, think not that I've come to destroy the law or the prophets. Okay? Here it is in the Old Testament. This is the last king of Israel. There's no more kings in Israel after this right here. After chapter 17, when we get to the end of chapter 17, no more northern kingdom. And we were just told why. Shouldn't we learn that? Shouldn't that be one of the things we learn? If the Old Testament is for our learning? Well, let's recap right quick though. Right quick. So Shalmaneser, king of Assyria, he takes the children of Israel out. He puts in people he's recently conquered. If you go back to chapter 16, you see that they just conquered Syria, right? Sepharvaim is in Syria. So he's taking the people out of there, bringing them down to Israel, and that's what they did. They take people, they move them around. Why? Because there's different languages there, there's different culture there, there's less likely, less chances that they regroup and rebel. So that's what they did. They kind of mixed the people up, right? So once they get there, lions start attacking them. And they say it's because they don't know how to worship the Most High God in that land. So what's the king say? King says, hey, go get a priest, bring him back, let him show y'all how to worship. We're good. They go get a priest. Priest said, okay, we do A, B, C, D, bam. That's how we do it. You do this here, you good. Okay, priest, thanks. We good. Then one of the priests, whom they carried away from Samaria, came and dwelt in Bethel, and taught them how they should fear the Lord. Keep in mind that when Jeroboam first became king of Israel, he set up 2 calves, one in Dan, one in Bethel, so they wouldn't have to go back to Jerusalem to worship. He didn't want them to go back because he was scared they'd stay. So he set up 2 idols, one in the north, one in the south, and said, these are your gods. This is who brought you out of Egypt. So they never really worshiped the Most High from the time they got there. And remember that, because I'm going to show you something that you've never seen before. Right? Stay tuned. Hang with me. I know it's getting a little lengthy. It'll probably be a part 1, part 2, maybe 3 or 4. Because this is, we ain't even halfway there. Check it out. So, what he's teaching them is trash anyway. Right? Because everything they've been doing since they got there has been idol worship. Right? All right. So, verse 32. So they feared the Lord and made unto themselves of the lowest of them priests of the high places, which sacrificed for them in the house of the high places. 33. And they feared the Lord and served their own gods after the manner of the nations whom they carried away from thence. So what did they do? They served the most. They served in the customs of the Most High, but they did it to their own gods. Okay. Let me say that again. They served their own gods. That's a better way to say it. They served their own gods in the manner that they served the Most High God. And they went on from there. This right here is starting the tension between the Jews and the Samaritans. That's why they were called half-breeds. This right here is why they were called half-breeds. Okay? Now we're getting into this 2 days. We're getting back. We're coming back around. Now I know it's long, but you got to know all this to understand what's going to happen here. What's going to happen in some more prophecy. What happens at the woman at the well, and what's happening today. Okay, I'm gonna bring it all back around. Let's get back to it. We got a few more verses, maybe 6 more verses, and then we're gonna get it right into it.
With whom the Lord had made a covenant, and charged them, saying, Ye shall not fear other gods, nor bow yourselves to them, nor serve them, nor sacrifice to them. But the Lord, who brought you up out of the land of Egypt with great power and a stretched out arm, him shall ye fear, and him shall ye worship, and to him shall ye do sacrifice. And the statutes, and the ordinances, and the law, and the commandment which he wrote for you, ye shall observe to do forevermore, and ye shall not fear other gods. And the covenant that I have made with you ye shall not forget, neither shall ye fear other gods. But the Lord your God ye shall fear, and he shall deliver you out of the hand of all your enemies. Howbeit they did not hearken, but they did after their former manner. So these nations feared the Lord, and served their graven images, both their children and their children's children, as did their fathers. So do they unto this day.
So do they until this day. All right. Okay, so now we got the northern kingdom moved out. For the most part, a remnant is still left there. 5 cities. He took people from 5 cities. 5 cities. Why do I keep emphasizing the 5? Okay, we'll see in a minute. 5 cities and moved them in. This starts a new nation of people. These people are called Samaritans. It's the first time you've seen the word Samaritan used in verse, well, I don't know what verse it was, but right there at the end there, he was talking about Samaritans. Okay, so let's get Hosea 8 and 8. This is Hosea. He prophesied to the northern kingdom, like I showed you on that chart earlier. Hosea 8, verse 8. Israel is swallowed up. Now shall they be among the Gentiles as a vessel wherein is no pleasure. So they're swallowed up, right? And the people who stayed in Israel, they are now interbreeding with the people who he brought in from the 5 cities that he conquered. Like I said, new breed of people called Samaritans. There are 2 more verses that we're going to need before we jump to the woman at the well, because you're going to see these 2 verses take place. Well, you're going to see them fulfilled in the woman at the well, and you'll also see them unfolding today. I told you this is a manifold prophecy. One is Hosea 4 and 6. You've heard it. My people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. Because thou hast rejected knowledge, I will also reject thee, that thou shalt be no priest to me. Seeing thou hast forgot the law of thy God, I will also forget thy children. All right. Once again, they didn't obey his laws and commandments, so they were out of there. The other verse I want to get is Hosea 1 and 10. Yet the number of the children of Israel shall be as the sand of the sea, which cannot be measured nor numbered. And it shall come to pass that in the place where it was said unto them, Ye are not my people, there it shall be said unto them, Ye are the sons of the living God. Ooh, remember that one. Remember that one, because remember that one. All right.